Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to this artist sales audit. So today we're going to be reviewing one of my friends who owns a artist company called Steel Edge Constructions. So basically what they do is they make these beautiful, beautiful cars made out of steel and various metals, makes pistons, makes a lot of different types of artwork, all related to, auto and cars. So today we're just gonna be talking about how would I go and sell $100,000 per year worth of these vehicles to make sure that, to those watching, maybe if you're in a similar position where you're trying to learn how to sell more art, but maybe you're struggling, maybe business just isn't really your strong suit, maybe you don't really understand marketing and sales. So we're gonna start doing these, very, very, very consistently inside of this group. So who am I? Who am I like to even be giving you this advice? My name is Bryce Tubbs, and I got started with, the art community for about 4.5, getting closer to 5 years now. And, I always grew up very, very entrepreneurial and dedicated most of my life to the corporate environment, and specifically more in the accounting and finance space. I had my own accounting firm. And it was about 4 years ago. The reason why I got started was because some of my relatives were, starting to work on their art. It was like metal work, a little bit of painting, but they were selling like these really, really small pieces, and they weren't really making like big enough pieces to really make any substantial money. So I just thought, maybe I could apply some of the same skills that I use inside of my accounting firm to grow that business, to a pretty good amount of money, to the art. So how can we take this awesome creations, raise the price, go and get interested buyers, really build something that can support, all of our lifestyles. And it was weird, man. It was just one of those things where once you know exactly what to do, you just keep doing it very consistently, and then your business starts to go. Like nowadays, we are able to support 2 households with the art. We make multiple six figures per year with the art, and that's basically the story. It's like, I come from more of a logical background and more of like a left brain type. And then going and being able to do more of the creative side has always been something that's like, kind of been under wraps until I started doing this. Once we got into it, we haven't looked back. It's been an amazing journey. I love being an artist. I love being able to create what I want, do what I want, work when I want. And all I have to do is just show people the art, and then they love to buy it. Now, there's a lot more to that than, just showing up. So let's kind of dive into that. So how would I actually go, and how would I, grow Steel Edge constructions? So how would I go and sell, 100K? So right now, what we're looking at is the thing that we have to think about is, where are we selling price wise now, and what could we be selling if we were able to go and find the right people or find the right buyers? So in this particular case, he was saying his average vehicle sells for between $400 to $650. Generally, it's closer to the $450 size, because a lot of people he speaks to currently just don't really have the money or the desire to really pay the amount of money that they need. So what it's looking like is, in order for him to go and make it to, six figures, he would need to go and sell about 200 cars a year. That's very, very hard, especially when the average car, when this gentleman was working, was taking about 1 week in order to complete. It's going to be very, very hard. You can really only make about 52 of these in a year, unless the person starts making enough money to go full time on their art, because these are very, very detailed, very meticulously made. If you look at it, like the engine is just so detailed. There's so much detail on this, because he's actually like making it according to the photos of his actual clients. Now, number one thing is, we got to start bumping up the price. Okay, we need to make sure we're selling between at least $1,000 per sale, at least $1,000 to $2,000. If you're selling paintings, or if you have other art and it's already selling above there, that's great. That's the starting point. Now, how can we get someone's pieces who maybe aren't at $1,000 already to start getting higher price and start making it closer to that $1,000? So number one for this one, and the advice that I gave him was, hey, you got to have add-ons. So, for example, an add-on to this would be a couple different things. So one, you can have your name, the actual client's name, be engraved on it. Number two, you could have a wood holder around it. So actually put it like on a wooden plaque. Number three, you could have a plastic like cube or cage, similar to what people do when they have like a championship basketball. They put in this glass case that everyone can see it and can be on display, whether it's in their office, whether it's on their mantle, whether it's in their house over the fireplace. We can always add these different things to kind of touch it up. Another thing you can add is color. So maybe you can actually get the same color that the person is actual real life vehicle is there. And that could be another additional add-on. Another one could be like a volume discount. So if they buy 2 cars, maybe you give a 25% off. There's a lot of different things you can do, but each one of those can be added on in order to get that price up to about $1,000, $2,000. For example, if you were to add an additional, probably about $250 per one of those add-ons, and I just listed off 5, that's an extra $1,000. So his average price would, instead of being $450, it would be more like $1,450. And you can always go in and have those add-ons come in descending order. What that basically means is you want to try and get all of the add-ons at first, then you just kind of drop the add-ons off as the people said it's too rich for their blood. That's how we would generally do that if we're going to try and really raise the average order value, which means how much someone is going to pay you every time that they place an order with you for a piece of your art. Now, the next thing that we have to do is, so once we have those add-ons, we have to really start thinking about, who is going to buy? Who is going to actually buy these items? Okay. Everybody has what's called a buyer 2.0. A buyer 1.0 is like generally who you're selling to now, who kind of negotiate, they haggle, they don't really want to pay you quite that much. They're kind of negative about, that you're not having a big name, you're not an art gallery, you're not an XYZ. They're always looking for what you don't have. Buyer 2.0 is more of the ideal clients, the ones who buy it based on impulse, the ones who have a lot of money to spend, the ones who don't really see money as being very tight or very scarce. They flow very freely with their money. They just give it away very easily, and they love what you do, and they're ready to buy multiple pieces. Okay, it's called Buyer 2.0. So you have to really think about this, right? Because right now he's struggling to sell his pieces for about, $450. And when I say struggling, it's not that he's like struggling, he's doing moderately well, but whenever he tries to sell for more $650, then the people he's talking to now say that's too rich for my blood. So we have to be able to go and find a different caliber of people that are going to pay more money. Okay. So for some examples, just brainstorming who would be the better people to go. So right now, a lot of the ones that he's seeing, they're moderately good cars. However, there's a certain group of people that are very, very, very obsessed with cars. Now, there's a couple different tiers in there, right? Because there's some people that just love cars, but they don't have any money. There's some that love cars and have like classic cars, and they pay, $3,000, $10,000, $20,000, $30,000, $50,000, $100,000 for their car. But there's also luxury sports car buyers, like people who buy like Ferraris, Lamborghinis, McLarens, Lotuses, Porsches, those kind of nature. Now, we have to try and go between the middle and the upper. We are really trying to ignore the bottom, okay? What I basically mean by that, all the people that love cars but can't afford to pay at least $1,000, we generally do not want to be talking to those people. We want to be really talking to the ones that are paying $50,000 to $100,000 for the restored car, or the people that are spending, multiple hundreds of $1,000s on their, luxury sports cars. Those are who the focus are going to be. Those are the ones that take the most pride in their cars. Those are the ones that actually want to show off their cars to people so they can tell the story of the car, how they got the car, what it took to get the car, whether they won in an auction, whether they won in a bid, whether they won it off a bet because they were in a race, racing somebody else and they won it off him. Those are the people who are going to pay the most money. Some other examples of some people who might be good to pay money. Think about people who own YouTube channels that have luxury cars. So there's certain YouTubers who are like at, 1 million subscribers, 2 million, 20 million subscribers. Those are the guys who, you see them flashing the Lamborghinis in the videos. You see them, showing off whatever, their huge houses. Those are the guys and the girls that we need to go and put our stuff in front of. Okay. There's a lot of those stars. You might be saying, Bryce, there can't be that many YouTubers that are doing really well. There's a lot of YouTubers that are doing really, really well. And since they're just coming into money, they don't know how to not spend a lot of it. So this can be the perfect person. Another person that'll be really good would be someone who's like a dealership owner. Maybe they own like a Lamborghini dealership or Ferrari dealership, or maybe they own like a racetrack. Okay, those guys are people who are also very serious. They're in the industry. They don't mind spending because they can always write it off as a business expense because they bought it to display inside of their dealership. Another person would be someone who's like a race car driver. That's very self-explanatory. They love race cars. They love being able to, show that they have it. They're obsessed with it. They like seeing the cars. That's going to be really good as well. So that's really the buyer 2.0. You have to be thinking about like who is actually going to buy it at these higher prices. And then we can start thinking about where are those people going. So number 2 would be all about how to go and connect with the people who are going to pay the higher price. Okay, number 1, you always have to be thinking of where. Where are these people? Okay, are they in Facebook groups? Are they in this particular case, might they be at car shows? Might they be at car races? Might they be at dealerships? Might they be at the restaurant across the street from the dealership? Might they be watching YouTube videos from a giant race car legend? Might they be at the tour, the Grand Prix? Might they be at the local IndyCar racetrack? Where are these people? Okay, the ones that are doing the most money, they're generally going to be at car events for kind of the more expensive type of cars, right? So we're not more than likely they wouldn't be at a NASCAR event. They'd probably be at IndyCar or Formula One. We're going where there's more people. So you could go to a NASCAR event, but we're looking at Indy and Formula One, where they have like $3 to $5 million per car. Okay, those are the ones we want to go to. Next thing, you got to be thinking about like not only where do they spend their time in real life, but where do they spend their time online? Because our job needs to be to go and put our information and put our stuff in front of them. It looks like Bill does a really good job of putting his information in front of people online. He has about 5,000 fans on his fan page, so that's relatively good when you're getting started. Now, what he needs to do is he needs to get that number closer to 20,000 so that he can actually start really hitting this and really punching this thing hard. Now, if you have 5,000 members on your fan page, you need to make sure that your personal Facebook account or some kind of Facebook account has the ability to actually reach out to those people. Okay. Generally, when you have a Facebook business page, you can only respond when someone sends you a message. You cannot actually do the first message. So you need to be able to go and not only have these people on your business page, but be able to go with your with your Facebook profile and start conversations asking like, when are they going to be ready to buy? Have they seen this? What are they thinking about this? What kind of car do they have? Like, you have to be having these conversations with these people. You cannot just wait for them to come to you. You have to be very, very proactive because the more money someone's making, generally the busier they are. They don't have time to be looking on Facebook, but they do have time to respond to your message where you say, hey, let's talk about this. Can we maybe, sit down for some coffee? Can we maybe do a phone call? Can we maybe do a Zoom where I just present what I have and see if this is something that could actually help you out, making it very, very easy for them. Okay. Next thing is really like, if you don't have 5,000 people, or if you don't have 10,000, 20,000, however many people you think that you need in order to grow your business, how do you start getting them? There's a couple different ways. So one will be inside of the Facebook groups for like the interests. So we're looking at, groups for car enthusiasts or luxury car enthusiasts. Number 2 is on all the different events that you go to, where the people are at. Remember in step number 2, we said, where are these people at? And we listed all those different places. We started thinking about all those different events, all those different event types for our buyer 2.0. Your job is to start going to those places and start collecting contact info. Okay. What I basically mean by that is you have to have conversations with all the people, as many people as you possibly can, about your art. If you can show off your art, if you can have it on display, if you can be making your art while you're there, that's even better. For example, one of the people that I talk to, an artist, does a lot of what they're called painting outside of like restaurants. So his buddy owns this restaurant, and he just literally just sits there on a Saturday night, starts painting, and then people start walking up to him, start talking. And every person he talks to, I instructed him to go and actually collect their contact information, get their email address, get their first name, get them to go and like your Facebook business page, get them to go follow you on Instagram. You need contact information in order to be able to follow up with these people, get them, interested in buying your art, and be able to really sell your art to them again and again and again and again. How most people do it is most people don't even leave their house. Like most people just painting 24 hours a day, and they never take their art outside of their house. And there's another group of people that take their art outside of the house. Maybe they have it posted on eBay, on Etsy. They go to events. Maybe they're painting in public. Maybe they go to networking events or museums, but they let a lot of opportunities slip by because a lot of people are going to buy your art, do not buy your art directly at the event. Instead, what happens is they actually go and they need to be followed up with. For example, we had an event back in, I think it was like September, and we sold zero. It was an art fair. We sold 0 piece at the art fair, okay? But in the next 2 months, we sold about 18,000 from all the people that were there that I collected the contact information from, and I was able to follow up with them, just keep showing them different pieces, keep talking to them, keep building that relationship. And we made about $18,000 from that show. So even though at the event we made 0, if I was like everybody else and I didn't collect contact information, I would not have been able to make any money from that. And it would have been a loss. I would have been really burned out about that show. I would have been very, that doesn't work. I'm never doing that art show again. But instead, because I contacted and I collected that information and I was able to store it, follow up, and build that relationship, that's what made it a lot easier for me to be able to go and grow my business, get more sales, and they're going to keep buying from us year after year after year because of that little detail that most people don't understand. Next thing, what is your process? Okay, most people do not have a process for going and getting the actual clients. They don't know how to get people to buy consistently. Your process needs to be about 1, meeting people, 2, storing info, 3, selling, 4, collecting. Okay, they're very distinct differences. 1 is meeting this. We just talked about this. 2 is collecting information, storing information. We just talked about this as well. Next is about selling. Okay, it's very, very easy for you to start selling your art, especially when you start getting really, really nice pieces. The place where most people struggle is that they talk too much about their art. The sale is not necessarily you talking. The sale is more about them responding and them telling you their story and what they see about their art and why they like the art and where they're going to put your art inside of their house and who they're going to invite to go and see the art when they get it in the door and where they're going to play it and how are they going to protect their kids from it in case of a giant metal sculpture. That's what makes the sale. It's not you talking about, oh, it took me 25 hours to go make this. It has this color in here. It's made out of this material. It took 90 hours. If you touch it this way, it's not going to work. It's going to, they don't care about this side. They care about the story. They care about why they're going to have it. They want to make their own story and they want to connect with the piece. Everything you're saying is going to lower your price. The more you tell, the less you sell. The more they say, the more they pay. Very simple. Next thing is collecting, okay? So you got to be able to go and collect the cash, whether you're using Square, whether you use Stripe, whether you just take cash, whether you take checks. If you're in a different country than where you're selling your art, you should probably get a payment processor like PayPal. Square is moderately good for that, but PayPal is probably the best internationally one. Just because it's so widespread and everyone uses a PayPal account. And that's the easiest one to go. That's the one thing that he was really struggling, this specific artist, was how to go and accept payment. Just do PayPal. Just do PayPal. It's very, very easy. And just look into it. Awesome, guys. I am going to get going. Hopefully you enjoyed watching this video. Hopefully this has given you a lot of value. Cannot wait to see you in the next one and cannot wait to see how I can help you out. Have a great rest of your day. Take it easy.